Hey guys, welcome into the 14. I'm Nick Cole, and we're breaking down all of the Week 4 SEC football action from a betting perspective. Today, we're talking about the Kentucky Wildcats visiting the South Carolina Gamecocks on Saturday night at Williams-Brice Stadium in Columbia. This game is on ESPN2. From a betting perspective, we've got Kentucky as 5-point favorites in this game. That's where it opened on Sunday, and that's where it's at as of this recording. And the over-under is the area that it's moved a little bit in the days after it opened. It opened at 51.5, and it's down to 48.5. I've got our betting analyst, Christopher Smith, with me. Christopher, what do you think about this SEC East clash?
Yeah, I wish that they would go back above 49 on that total. We may talk about that a little bit later, but it'll be interesting to see. I think we'll find out who South Carolina really is and who Kentucky really is. We'll get more into that in a bit as well. But Nick, why don't you take us through the next news and notes and what's going on around those two programs heading into this game?
Sure. Let's start with some weather and some injuries. The weather situation in Columbia should be pretty good on Saturday night. The high 78, low 55. So we should find ourselves in the low 70s, upper 60s probably by game time. Partly cloudy, low wind. So don't even think twice about that from betting on this game. And then from an injury standpoint, Taj Dotson, who is currently Kentucky's third safety, could be returning from a groin injury that he sustained last week. And on South Carolina's side, they obviously have Luke Doty back in the saddle. I mean, he played last week against Georgia at quarterback, but middle linebacker Sherrod Green had surgery after the Georgia game and is out. And then projected starting defensive tackle Rick Sanders has been out, and there's not really been any news on his expected return. So that's kind of a guy we're just waiting and seeing when they may get him back and make a difference on that Gamecocks defense. Notes on this game. I'd start on the Kentucky side and just ask you, what in the world happened in Lexington last week? I was, surfing around early games, trying to soak in all of the SEC Week 3 action. And I sort of had that Kentucky-Chattanooga game on the back burner thinking that the Wildcats would be on cruise control. But if you checked in on that game at any point in the second half, you started wondering, is Kentucky actually going to win this game? They ended up winning at 28-23 against Chattanooga, who's a okay FCS team, but not somebody that you should be thinking would sneak into Kroger Field and take an SEC win, right? Will Levis threw a couple picks for the Wildcats, and Chris Rodriguez, who had a huge game in week 2, was held to just 46 rushing yards on 13 carries. So my question is, was this a fluke? Or is there a little bit of a chink in the armor on this Kentucky team that's 3-0 that we kind of thought had turned a little bit of a corner? Should we actually be concerned betting on them going against South Carolina? And then on the other side, Christopher, I just got to needle you a little bit because while the Gamecocks keep underwhelming you in your analysis, they keep covering spreads. They lost to Georgia pretty convincingly, 42-13, but a fourth quarter touchdown got them that backdoor cover on the 32-point spread where the Gamecocks plus 23 or plus 32 cashed. And now they're 3-0 against the spread in spite of being a really flawed team that has had a grad assistant playing quarterback for the first couple of weeks. Is there any way that they can make it 4-0 against the spread against Kentucky this week?
Well, I've got them 2-0-1 based on the closing line in week 1 personally, but they can thank Stetson Bennett's interception for the cover in the second half against Georgia last week as well. So otherwise, I think they would be 1-1-1. So. I said all season the strength of this South Carolina team is at the line of scrimmage. And I think that's important in this game because Kentucky got whipped up front against Chattanooga on both sides of the ball. And that's really their weak point in this game against South Carolina, or their potential area where the Gamecocks can win and cover again. The spot last week is difficult because it came in between rivals Missouri and South Carolina, SEC East foes on the schedule. And you mentioned Levis throwing 2 picks and Chris Rodriguez and Cavossier Smoke, both under 4 yards per carry. But Wan'Dale Robinson did top 100 yards for the 3rd consecutive game in a Kentucky uniform. Probably wishing he had just gone with the blue and white all along out of high school and just avoided the Nebraska debacle altogether. Levis is still completing 65% of his passes, but the key there is not the completion percentage. It's the fact that he's throwing for 10.1 yards per attempt. And I looked up the number last year. As a team, Kentucky was throwing for 5 yards per attempt last season. So they're getting twice as many yards every single time they throw the ball this year. And throughout the interceptions and, they're much more balanced on offense, at least this season, if their offensive line can get a good push. So you mentioned in the opener that South Carolina is now missing its starting defensive tackle and its starting middle linebacker. So that's got to help Kentucky a little bit in the trenches and trying to run the ball up the middle. But why don't you tell us on the other side, sorry, real quick, Luke Jody is super fast when he's healthy, and he's set to make his first career start at quarterback. But, can he do anything running the ball here? Is he healthy enough to use that speed and use his athleticism as a guy who spent most of the last season at receiver for South Carolina? So, Nick, I think you're a little bit ahead of me on the season-long picks. My best bets are ahead of you, and your dog is also tied with you for the season-long picks. So tell us how we're going to make money on this pick. And since you were kind of needling me on South Carolina, I'm assuming you're betting on the Gamecocks in this game?
Well. I wouldn't go that far. Although South Carolina has been really good to me the past couple of weeks. I think I feel fortunate on both accounts that they covered against ECU and covered against Georgia. I'm not going to risk it a third week in a row. I actually like Kentucky to get right in this game. And like you said, I think they were in kind of a down spot where it was hard to get up for that game in between SEC opponents against Chattanooga. So I like Kentucky -5. I think they're just a better team. And even though that's a road team laying points, I feel pretty comfortable that they're probably actually more like a two touchdowns better than South Carolina. So give me Kentucky -5. And I've mentioned this in other videos so far this season, but I've just been, anytime there's been an SEC line, over under line in the 40s, I've been playing the over on those just on the idea that we can accidentally get there. And with these two teams, I'm not sure I trust the defenses enough to keep this under. And moreover, I think Kentucky may be able to get most of the way to this 48.5 on their own. So give me the over in this. I'm assuming you may have a different opinion on that.
I'm glad we got something to fight about on this game on Saturday. I'm going with you with Kentucky -5. I'm not backing down from my Gamecocks analysis. And also I'm taking the under 48.5. South Carolina's offense just is not good. I mean, it's just not. It's not good. It doesn't matter which SEC team they're playing, maybe Vanderbilt, but against everybody else, it's not good. And we just saw Kentucky get dominated at the line of scrimmage by Chattanooga, which I just mentioned. And I guess if you were to highlight one area for South Carolina where it's probably the best area of their team, it's probably up front on defense. So, you run for less than 4 yards per carry against Chattanooga. Now you're facing a South Carolina defensive line, at least, that's definitely better than what Chattanooga rolled out there. So, Will Levis got to take care of the football if Kentucky wants to win or wants to put up at least big numbers on the scoreboard. But I'm thinking this game will end up in the 20s, if not the teens. So I'm taking under 48.5 and Kentucky -5. But for Nick Cole, I'm Christopher Smith for the 14, and we'll talk to you all next week.